You look to Jesus. Just look to Jesus now. I know He's the one. He's the one. I know He is the only one. Look to Jesus now. You look to Jesus. He's the one. Why don't you try my king? I know He'll pick you up now. He'll turn you all around. Oh yes He will. And He'll place your feet now. All right, I want to welcome you all again to the Raw Spill, where we keep it real with the hard truth. We're gonna get right to business. I want to bring on board with me the pastor of God's Truth and Deliverance Ministry, Pastor Bolden. I want to thank you for joining me in this week.
All right. Thank you for having me.
All right, we're going to dive right into it. The number to call is 888-627-6008. That's 888-627-6008. info@therawspill.com is the email address. That's info@therawspill.com. We're going to talk about the New World Order. How close are we to it? Are we there yet? I want to cover a few things. You know, they have the microchips in people's hand. That's currently really heavy over there. Sweet and very popular over there. Putting the chips in the hand. Ain't nobody said nothing about Revelation 13, verse 16 and 17 about that. It's all convenient. And also want to get into the U.S. dollar being devalued and the one world religion. Well, I like to start off with these chips in the hand. That's. I think I first saw that article a few years back over in Sweden. And like I said, it's real heavy over there. Everything I read about it is all about convenience. They're able to get into their office, get into their apartments. They can buy things. Everybody's just so happy about that. Everybody is on board with it. It's just super convenient. You gotta worry about no wallets, no more credit cards, no big bulky wallets, no credit cards. Oh, it's convenient. I read another article where you can buy some here in the U.S., go to Paris, buy some with the same chip. Just wave your hand. All convenient. And to me, I think that's Revelation speaks on that, but the big news folks they're not gonna bring that up. They're not gonna talk about the mark of the beast, nothing like that. That's conspiracy theories. There's pretty much anything that's in the Bible. It's playing out before our eyes, clearly. But you got a lot of naysayers like to make a mockery of it, and things that's things that the Bible said is being we're living it out. And also, even the believers, they don't the followers of Christ they don't even believe everything that's in this Bible. So how you can expect you can't expect anything more than the world. So what's your take on this here, y'all? These chips in people's hand. I know some of them some of it's on the left hand. I know the Bible said in the right, but the chip is a chip to me. But I don't know. But what is your take on these people just so willing to take this chip for convenience?
Well, I tell you, I think for the devil to be able to pull off what he's pulling off in this day and age, the first thing he has to do is to put the church to sleep. And the way he does that is by getting church people to disbelieve God's word. And So if the church disbelieve, or the so-called church disbelieve God's word, then we'll completely ignore what Revelation 13 says about taking the mark of the beast and what's the purpose of it. And so I honestly think we're already living in that day. I remember um, credit cards and um, bank cards just being plain, just being plain. They just had just something that you'd slide, you'd slide across there, and it would read your information in that little strip on the back of it. And then they started replacing that even before. It used to be that the banks um, they would only replace it when your card expired. But when this new chip, if you notice, if you look on your bank card or your credit card now, it's got this little chip on the inside of it to where you don't even have to slide it anymore. All you have to do is just put it in front of the little device, and it'll pick up the information of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that in and of itself is a chip. And I think basically they're getting us ready for that. Now, when I was a little boy, and this is how I know this has been coming into play, there was a program on TV that I used to watch when I was a little boy. I can't remember the name of it, but it was an older man. He would fly around in helicopters, and they would mark animals, and they would keep up with those animals, and they would put some kind of mark or device in those animals and tag. They would call it tagging the animals, so that whenever they would come back to the area, they could trace those animals and see how they were doing and things like that. And so, to me, the technology has been there, and they have did a very good job at desensitizing people to that. Because the
Mm-hmm.
first, so with animals, and then of course now they have it where people can chip their pets, just in case little Bobby run off or whatever. You can go find them. But I say if they, now that's just me. If they run off, they not happy, and they just need to keep on going wherever they plan on going. But people actually literally take their pets to the vet to put chips in their pets, so that, I mean, all the information. It's crazy, brother Harold. This one got allergies. The pet's got allergies, so just in case I have to take it to the pet doctor, somebody find it and take it to the pet doctor, then they'll know not to give it this shot or whatever. It's like that's. So they it's all experimental uh in the eyes of those that choose to be blind. It's just all coincidence, but to me it's not a coincidence. And the unfortunate thing is, um people think that everything is a conspiracy. They think that it's you're just a conspiracy theorist, and everything is everything. But if we believe that the devil exists, especially as the church, then why wouldn't we believe that he has a plan that's laid out for this world? The Bible says that he's the God of this world and he's the prince of the air. And so if he's the God of this world, then he has to have a plan on ruling this world at some point or another. And so to me, a part of that is this whole one world system with the chip, and bringing that into existence. And especially with and I don't know, I imagine you're going to cover the 13th chapter of the book of Revelation, what it talks about not being able to buy and sell unless you take this mark, or this chip. And so we can see that we're moving to that now. You can go to the store now. Some stores don't even take cash anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you know sis, and I remember, especially right when this pandemic happened, the stores, some of the restaurants were even saying, unless you have exact change of in cash or whatever, if you don't have exact change, then we're not going, you have to use some kind of card or something like that. And to me, they have gotten people used to just sliding the card, just sliding the card. Some of us slide and don't care what's in there. We just praying for a miracle, apparently. But just slide it, just slide it. And so to me, it's getting us used to that system of using chips and things like that. And we are a convenient society. Just whatever is convenient. It's just easier to slide a card than it is to take your money out and count the cash nowadays. And so that's what I think about it. I think that we are walking right into a trap, and it's going to be unfortunate that the frog is not going to know it's in the pot until it's been cooked.
Oh yes, and yeah, I was reading on these chips. Yeah, they have all your health history on there, all your whatever medical, whatever medically going on with you. That's all that's on the chip. I think I read even his social security number, all that good stuff is on there. You can just have a social media page, and you can go to somebody's phone, wave your hand, and there you go. Your link will show up on their phone. And she said something about the church. I don't want to sound negative or nothing like that, but just being real. I just for some strange reason, I think a lot of churches are going to fall for it. Just going by this COVID-19, just how people really ran towards this vaccine, take the shot. A lot of shepherds and all the pastors, they didn't want you in their church unless you took that shot, and that just make you wonder. Man, they might encourage y'all to take that chip. Now look here. Now we need our tithes and offering. They don't pay with cash. Y'all got to get this chip. Yeah, that's all right. That's just we just go pray on it. We just need you to wave your hand over this here machine. We need that. That don't mean y'all stop giving your tithe and offering.
Yeah, we'll just call it the holy chip.
Yeah, call it something. But yeah, that's just something I was just pondering about. I think a lot of churches are gonna fall for this thing whenever it becomes no mandatory.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if they fell for the whole vaccine thing with COVID-19, and I just I hate to say it, but I just think about how they got a lot of people to take that vaccine shot and told them they were safe, and then when they started getting sick again, it was everybody else's fault that hadn't taken the vaccine.
Yeah, that's it.
So, it just lets I think about how the church people really are sheep, but in the wrong way. They a lot of them will follow anything without checking anything. They'll follow it, but the Lord says, "My sheep hear my voice." So if He said, "My sheep hear my voice," then it must be possible to be sheep of something else. And so the Bible tells us, the Lord tells us to be as wise as serpents and harmless as doves. And so we're supposed to know what day we're living in. If we really believe that there's a devil, then we should definitely know that he has a plan. And this chip is definitely one of those plans. You mentioned earlier about Social Security, Social Security number. Even that was a part to me of the system that we're walking into. Even that, I did a lot of family research and things in back in the day, and still do a little bit of it. And my daddy, if I'm not mistaken, he was born before a time before everybody had to have a Social Security number. And I sometimes I look at my ancestors, and I look at their the paperwork that's on them, and I can see the day and and where they were living when they applied for their Social Security number, because back then you didn't have to have a Social Security number. And so the whole idea of Social Security number was what they say for Social Security, so nobody can be you, and nobody, and you can't try to be somebody else. Well, why? I don't know why people don't see that that's really a tag, like they tagging people like cattle. Is really what that's about. It's not about your Social Security. It's really about the government being able to keep tabs on the citizens, and being able, I'm telling you, and we need to ask ourselves this question: why is it when you go to the store, you can go to the store and buy a toilet tissue, and they're gonna want to know your phone number and your email address? So what's that? Can I just get some toilet paper? I just come here for toilet. I didn't come here to tell you my life story.
Hmm.
So to me, what's all this? This is too much time. I got to use the bathroom. I ain't got time to hand out my life story every time I got to use the bathroom. So, you know, to me, I don't know why people can't see what's going on there. That Big Brother is dipping their hands in the pot and getting too involved in the personal lives of people, and keeping track of people. And we need to be very skeptical, And of course, if you dig deeper into it, the idea, anytime if you look at history, anytime a government overreached It's in its authority and power over the people. They always used fear to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They always used fear to do it, which is what Social Security was about. This is, hey, if you don't want nobody to play like they you and get what you have coming to you, then we let us tag you with this number. And I think they're going to do the same thing with this chip.
Yeah, that is something. That number is 888-627-6008, and kind of ties in with the U.S. dollar being devalued and pushing for a worldwide currency. If my memory serves me correct, I sound like something that was Russia was pushing for. I don't know. I guess the U.S. dollar. I guess that's the main currency that people use. I guess to do their trading or whatever. But Russia was, if I'm not mistaken, I'm yeah, it was Russia. I don't know what Russia. I don't know what China was with him, was on it with them too. But I know Russia for sure wanted to devalue the U.S. dollar and go to um, a single currency
Hmm.
for the whole world. So I don't think nobody caught that, but that's you know that's pretty much where that chip will come in at. Like where Revelation 13 said nobody can buy or sell unless they have that mark in their hand.
Hmm.
And so it's just unfortunate some people maybe just naive, to what's written, and there's some people know what's written and they just can care less.
Hmm.
They're going to do what they want to do.
Yeah, I think about, you talking about the one world currency. I think about he was a leader. I think he was the dictator of Libya. And it's amazing to me, how when we want to brand somebody as and that we don't like as a leader, we call them dictators. And so his name was Gaddafi, if I'm not mistaken. And for the most part, America was leaving him in his country alone until he started advising people to switch over to gold, get out of the whole currency system, because it's a trap. And so he started trying to get other nations and other people to switch over to gold because that's where the real value is. And when he started doing that, of course, you know the story. America assassinated him. And so to me, so he's been ruling his people for quite a while now, for decades. So if he was such a terrible leader, why wait this long? Why wait until he start trying to get people to go back to gold and using that as a currency? Because of course, that's the real value. Anybody can. Here's the thing: with anybody can take a piece of paper and make it inflate.
Mm,
But when you're talking about gold, that's by the weight. So you can't say gold is worth this and gold is worth that. It's worth what it's worth because it's gold. It's something that's solid. And so but with paper you can do that. A dollar's not worth a dollar anymore. It's only worth 20 cents. But with gold you can't do that. And so he was trying to get people back into that gold system and they didn't like it and they killed him because of it. Why? Because it went against the agenda of what they're trying to bring in. And so and to be honest with you, a lot of our leaders that have been assassinated, especially in the 60s, they were trying to wake people up to something, and it didn't matter how much the American people loved them or whatever the case was. As soon as when you look at any leader, any whether they were in politics or not, if they were assassinated, you can always trace it back to they done said something that went against the agenda of the satanic agenda that's out there. And it never fails. It never fails. And so to me, it's definitely you can see to me with the currency, what I believe concerning that is it seems like the people on the top, and what I mean by the people on the top, I mean the Illuminati. It seemed like they're trying to break people, and I mean financially. It's hard to control people when they can buy themselves,
mm,
and when they have the money to make decisions, their own decisions. But it's easy to control people if you're the one that's handing out goods and services. If you're the one that's controlling food, people will do anything for food. And so if you control the food, if you control the currency and things like that, then you control people. And so we see, of course, it goes. This comes from so many different angles. How the local farmers, are being put out of business. You know, people can't even like I can't grow something and sell it to you, and you my next door neighbor, without the USD wanting to put their stamp on it. And so, because of, you know, you see all of these things playing out, you see, and you see what exactly is going on. All of the whole food industry is being industrialized now. You know, where you can't just, you know, you have to go drive out and way out in the country somewhere to try to find some farmer's market. You know, and even they're being, they're trying to shut them down. And so, to me, people just need to wake up and see what's going on. That uh, the government is overextending their policies and their power, because they understand if we control the food, we control the people. If we control the finances, we control the people. You know, and again, people think that money is because it says Federal Reserve. They think that that means that the federal government is over it, and it's not. It's a few banks that just a few families are over, and that so it's a whole separate entity that's controlling the currencies today. And so, and that's what I see going on with that. And my prayers is that people will wake up. I honestly, I think we have gone too far into it to try to stop it. You know, I think that, but the Bible lays it out very clearly what believers are supposed to do to deal with it. First thing we have to do is become self-sufficient. You know, we're gonna have to learn to trust God and grow our own food. You know, they can't stop you from growing your own food and feeding your own family, but we're gonna have to trust God to be able to do that, because He's the one that blesses the ground, and, you know, and sends rain to water the crops and things like that. Basically, we're gonna have to go back to the old way of doing things and trusting God. And honestly, that's what God is trying to. God is allowing all of this to happen to drive His people back to Him and the old way of faith and trusting in Him as our source of livelihood. And my prayers is that church people will wake up and at least get on that bandwagon of going back to the old way of doing things and not fall into this system that they're, because it just seemed like to me so many church people are just walking, marching, just right along with it, just right along with it, and just blindly doing it. And my prayers is that this program and other programs like this will help to wake some of us up so that we can see what's going on and act accordingly.
Yeah, you said something about controlling the people. I wrote that down on my notes here from that from a book here. It was let me quote Ted Turner said a total world population of 250 million to 300 million, a 95% decline from present level would be ideal.
Hmm.
That's so pretty much the smaller the population, the easier to be. It's easier to control the people.
Mm-hmm.
And those that might have followed this broadcast for a while, we spoke on that before, especially what I noticed is touchy that abortion. That's definitely a way to control the population, and even certain foods that's slowly killing us. You know, some like I know a guy was telling me about that. Stay away from that aspartame. I had a trainer back when I was trying to work out or whatever. He warned me some years back, just to stay away from the aspartame. He said you'd be better off just eating sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just just some of the foods that we intake. It's a shame, but it seems like it's done purposely though.
Mm-hmm.
These folks, y'all ain't. These people are too smart out there. They not ignorant. They know this stuff is
Mm-hmm.
slowly killing folks off.
Mm-hmm.
Through the foods we take. That's why it's really important that you pray over your food before you ingest it. Because I tell you, there's some sick people out there in this world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I forgot what was all up in there. Even that meth also, but it's some kind of preservative, whatever they put in these foods. It's, the test really shows. The studies have shown that it's not good for you,
Mm-hmm.
but they're pushing out there to the people. So that's so what a way to so that's two ways to get the world population down
Mm-hmm.
to 250 million to 300 million. do abortion, and I guess through foods. You don't know what you eat out there nowadays.
Mm-hmm. And you bringing up food, and I think about my wife and I. We've observed all of these, and I hate to say their name, but I'm gonna say it. Hope we don't get in trouble. But these DaVita dialysis centers,
Mm.
and they're popping up like McDonald's now. In every city you're gonna see one. And of course, we know what dialysis is. Somebody kidneys are not functioning correctly to purify the blood, and so when people, I had a friend that was on dialysis, and he would go, and I think he would be there for about 5 hours, and they circulate and pump his blood through this machine that purified it, did what the kidneys were supposed to do because his kidneys were no good. And I was trying to figure out at one time, why is all of these dialysis centers popping up? In other words, why are so many people's kidneys failing? And it's the medication. It's certain foods that people eat that's destroying their kidneys. Even sodas. My friend that was on dialysis, I asked him, why you're young, you only about, at that time he was about 32 or something. Why dialysis, that's for older people. And he said, well, when I was little, my mother used to put soda water in my bottle.
Mm.
So he drank a lot of soda. So just things like that. And I medicine, they don't want to tell you what to eat that aspirin could do. What food to eat to take the place of certain medication. They just know the chemicals of certain foods and put it all in a pill. And of course, those pills are not natural, so they destroy your natural body when you take them. And so all of this again is a part of the population control. We just gonna dump you full of pills and have you thinking that you're doing yourself some good, and before it's over with, you'll be taking 10 and 20 pills because this pill will do this for you. This will help your gas problem or whatever it is you have an issue with. But now we got to give you a pill for the damage that this pill is going to do, because this one is going to do this. And so people taking 10 and 20 pills a day, uh, and all of it's destroying something. And then you got to take another pill for what's been destroyed for another pill. See, so there is nobody's trying to find a solution, no real solution, because nobody really want a real solution. Population control is the part of the goal of this, what we see happening. And you think about it, and I don't know why people don't think about it. Why would the federal government, or why would the government period train people to be okay with killing their own children? Just speaking of abortion. Well, when you think about population control, what is their goal in population control? The strong survive. The strong survive. And so the elite people that's sitting at the top, they know if you killing your own child, then you don't deserve to survive. The strong won't do that. The weak will do that because the weak minded feel like, well, just let me go out and please myself and do what I want to in my body, and I can, But the elite are not thinking that way. The elite aren't aborting their children. I can promise you that.
Mm.
They're not doing that at all, you know. And so they're freezing their eggs, so that they can so so the idea is the strong survive. They want a Superman humanity. And they know if you got a mind to go out and just sleep around and do all that, you are not part of that elite system, and you are not what they want here in the future. So yes, just keep going, go ahead and kill all your offspring, and keep falling into the same thing that you've been falling into. Eventually, in their minds, the stronger survive, and the weaker just keep killing each other off some kind of way, through not doing their own research and really paying attention to what's going on in this world.
Oh yeah, and we're speaking on the new world order. People think it's a conspiracy, but it's it's starting to play out. It's just everything going that's said in the Bible is we're seeing it, but we're seeing it before our very eyes. But there's just some people who just won't accept it.
Mhm.
Um, and one more thing, the one world religion. I'm just kind of curious about that. Not folks. We have to go with true fear, but just something I was just thinking. What it seemed like I know after 9/11, from what I understand about their culture, I guess the people of the Islamic faith or whatever, when they conquer a territory, from what I'm hearing, it's they want to build on it. I know when the site of the World Trade Center, nothing was on it. For some reason, a group they wanted to build a mosque. They said it got to be there.
Hmm.
It has to be on that site. They were really pushing it. And from what I understand, once they conquer territory, they want to build on it. And I'm just thinking I'm not sure, but I'm just kind of curious of what would be the one world religion that they're pushing. Some reason I'm thinking the Muslim faith. I don't know. It just I don't know. It just seemed like they was eh, even Obama. He said one time that the U.S. is the biggest Muslim country.
Hmm.
Really, we wasn't founded on no Muslim beliefs. But I'm 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 just curious about that. What do you have any idea of what would be the one world government one world religion that they would try to push us in?
I think, just according to what I read in the book of Revelation, it seemed like it would be along the same lines of Catholicism.
Oh yeah, I thought about that.
Yeah, I think it would be along the lines of Catholicism because that is, if you notice when you hear, if you watch the news, ever since I've been little, and if I watch the news, when I hear reporters say, quote unquote, the church, they're not talking about Sunrise Missionary Baptist Church down the street.
Mhm.
They're not talking about Pilgrims, Progress, nothing like that. The church is the Catholic Church. And it's a shame, I just you bringing that up with the one world religion. I know I used to love going in hospitals praying for people. That was one of the things I did in the ministry. And when I moved, but as I got older in the ministry, you had to register with the hospital. Back in the day, you could go from room to room just knocking on doors. Hey, I'm a minister. You want prayer? And people say yes or no. And most of the time, if they sick, they gonna say yeah, come on in. But now they don't do that. Now you have to. And my wife and I, when we lived in Nashville, we went to this particular hospital, and I was trying to get registered, and you had to be a part of a particular group.
Hmm.
You couldn't be an independent, non-denominational type person. You had to be registered with some type of religious affiliation. You had to be, in other words, a Protestant type of person. And so, of course, we couldn't go in, and we couldn't get in that way. And we're thinking, okay, I just want to pray for people. Either they want prayer or they not. They don't. But so even in that, you could just see the little sneakiness of this one. This one world religion that they're trying to bring in. Now, the idea, of course, with Catholicism, pretty much the way they live is how they want to live. We can do what we want to do as long as we can find a priest somewhere to confess something to, and then come pray over our bodies when it's just about gone. So that religion doesn't require a lot. It doesn't require you crucifying your flesh. It doesn't require no real commitment, if that make any sense. Like as far as submitting to Jesus Christ, it's just, hey, we could do wrong, we can do whatever we want to do, and when it's all said and done, we can just go confess it, to our priest, and to me, that's the convenient religion. But it completely goes against what Samuel told Saul in the book of First Samuel. Obedience is better than sacrifice. In other words, obedience is better than asking for forgiveness or confessing and trying to make things right. Just obey, and you won't have to do all of that. And so that religion, that Catholic religion, is a convenient religion. It's convenient in the There's no sacrifice. There's no crucifying of the flesh. None of that. Just do what you want to do, live how you want to live, and then just just try to halfway be a good person. And so I think out of that religion is going to come the beast. Out of that religion is going to come the beast, and which is going to deceive many.
Oh yeah, there was something else I saw in the book too. Things. I guess when take, well, I guess once the government take full control, there's certain things they want to abolish, and like the abolishment of government and borders. They forever. I know come down to the U.S. Just I even heard some representatives saying we need to have open borders
Mm.
between the U.S. and Canada, even if the U.S. and Mexico. Just they really pushing for that open open borders. Another point is um, abolishing religion, except
Mhm.
for the one that they offer.
Mhm.
So that's slowly coming around. And another point is the abolishment of family and marriage.
Mhm.
They that's a and the abolishment of private properties. And speaking of that, when I was in Florida, a guy was telling me we was on this highway, which seemed to be relatively new at the time, and the guy pointed out to me all that land that highway was on. It was all private property. I think the government official came to this person's house, offered them a check for I forgot how much it was, but they said we want this land be out by such and such time.
Mm.
No negotiation. They wanted that land to make a highway,
Mhm.
and they got it. And so that's kind of where we're living in, and as we see every day, the abolishment of family and marriage.
Mhm.
That's I tell you that's you like I said you see that every day
Mhm.
with especially in marriages with the role reversal. See it all on television. Make the women more masculine, more dominant. The men be more submissive, feminine like. So that's not a family structure right there.
Mhm.
So I tell you it's a complex thing, and like I said, it's so subtle the way it's done. Like I said, people have just become numb to it.
Mhm.
And all this is playing out before our eyes. But I guess people got this thing doing a new thing now. Instead of going by what's written in the Bible.
Mhm. Yeah, it's definitely playing out, and it's so much that is. It seemed like the devil got a full court press on, where he's like you said, he's coming from all sides. He's tackling the family. He's tackling the finances, and all of these different areas that he's pushing against at one time to bring about this new world order. But in the middle of everything, he's got people focused on something else. The inner turmoils in this country, just the little minute stuff, got them fighting over just little stuff and basically to keep their attention. If you pay attention, every time you see something major in the news and it stay on the news for more than a week, somewhere in somebody's state, they're passing a law up under the nose of the people
Mm.
that the people would not approve of. But because people they love to march, and they love to fight for this and fight for that. The whole time the government is sneaking in these different laws under the nose of the people, and people just, that's the way the devil do. He gets people paying attention to the wrong thing when something else is going on, when he's bringing other things in. And so we have to be, the Bible tells us to watch. And we have to be watchful for these things and pay attention to what's going on all around us. All of this stuff is not a coincidence. This is not just stuff that's just happening just to be happening. He's a master at what he's doing, and he's got people, even the church, is asleep and distracted with different things, and we're completely overlooking what's going to be brought in. And I think it's going to be sad that so many people in the church are going to be deceived and are deceived, and they're going to walk right into it and they won't have any idea whatsoever. They'll just walk right into it. Let's think about this. In the 13th chapter of the book of Revelation, it tells us, I'm gonna start reading at verse 7 of verse 15. I say, and it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, of the number, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. In other words, 666. So let's think about that. Right now, if the new world order was kicked in right now, how many of us would, as I'm talking about believers, now we know the world is going to walk right into it, but how many believers could say, you know what, I don't need finances to live? How many of us are ready to make that kind of sacrifice? Because think about it. Here, you're going to need this mark to buy or sell. So the question is, are you buying and selling? Are you going to the store for food? So if you're doing that now, will you have the faith that it takes not to go to the store for food, not to buy, and not to sell? In other words, to get out of this system that we're in. Do you have the faith to do that? Can you say, no, I'm not going to take the mark? No, there's no way in the world I'm going to take the mark, because that's going to mean an automatically forfeiture of my soul. So no, I'm not taking it. I'd rather starve. And I'd rather starve to death, trusting God to provide for me, than to take a mark to go to my job and have to take a mark so that I can still fit in with society. Who right now is ready for that? Who can say, I ain't got to go to nobody's store anymore. I ain't got to buy or sell. I'll just trust God that he's going to provide for me. Who's prepared for that? I tell you what, we better get prepared. We better have some faith that it's going to take to not be a part of this system, and if we're smart, we'll start backing out of the system. We'll start being like them hybrid cars. Just start backing out of that to where we completely rely on God, basically is what it means. And so I tell you, this is a real life. We read this, people have read this. I've heard people talk about this for years. Ever since I've heard people talk about it for years. But the question is, who's doing something about it? That ain't way out in La La Land somewhere. That's right in front of our face. So this is not, so if you think, well, this is, even if you knew this is 4 generations down the road and you won't live to see it, why not prepare your family for it? Why not start preparing for it now, even if it is 200 years away from now, which I don't think it is, but even if it is 200 years from now, have enough love for your offspring to start preparing them for it. You see, so, to me, the Bible is meant for us to do something about it. We were warned, and this is before there was a chip, so we were warned about it. And the Bible is a prophetic book to begin with. So we've been warned about it, and it's time for church folks to start being about it and start preparing for what's coming down the pike. If you don't have faith, develop some. you know, to start reading that Bible and trusting God and actually having a real relationship with Him, so that you'll know Him as a Father that provides. You see, so that we can come out of that. And I'm telling you, the devil set the church up really good with the prosperity gospel and getting people chasing after money and things like that. That was all a setup. All of it was a setup to get the church to depend on the system and to get them really entangled into the system, so that when it's time to confess the Lord Jesus Christ, they won't confess Him when it comes to their stomach and being able to feed themselves.
Oh yes, that the number again 888-627-6008. And I really do hope everyone that tunes in, hope you really getting something out of this here. Like the people say, it's put up or shut up. Yeah, because like I said, we done read this. How's it going to go down in Revelation? Just time and time and time again, and now it's just starting to roll out. It's starting to take place right before us.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, what are you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
And then again, no sad to say, I think the church gonna really fall for it.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of pastors gonna. I just I ain't trying to be negative, but I just got a strange feeling a lot of pastors gonna really push for their members to take this chip, even though they know what's written in that Bible. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, I would hope not. But
Hmm.
that's just the reality of it here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, back to that chip. Like I said, it's a very sort of way. It it's all about convenience.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole everything I read about that article. The people testimony about taking that chip in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
All they raved about is how convenient it is.
Mm-hmm.
It'll make your life a whole lot easier. That's their selling point. But they don't know what they're doing to themselves in the long run. But, maybe they don't. Maybe nobody broke down Revelation 13 to them. But if y'all never heard, I just hope y'all that listening don't have a real clear understanding about the direction that we're headed in now.
Mm-hmm.
And this it's real. The chip is out there. That technology's been brewing for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and people are like I said, they're really going towards it, really embracing it. And I don't think they know what they're getting themselves into
Mm.
over convenience.
Yeah. I tell you, Brother Hal, I'm just sitting here thinking that it goes deeper than buying and selling. It goes a lot deeper than buying and selling. I remember when 5G first came out, a lot of people were fighting against that. They didn't want that in their cities because they know it's a technology that has a demonic agenda. 4G was fine, but there's a reason why they're wanting things to be at a higher speed. It's to be able to connect. And I'm going to just use this as an example. I have, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's an iPhone 5. If I take that to the store today, they're gonna tell me, get on up out of here. What is that?
Hmm.
What you doing? We don't, what is that? That belong in a museum somewhere. But I tell you what, you let an Amber Alert come across the system, it's gonna find that phone.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna find it. It's gonna find every flip phone there is out there. So I'm saying that the technology, it's not that the iPhone is obsolete, that particular one. But so how are they able to send Amber alerts to every phone, no matter how old it is? They're still able to send it. Let's think about this, brothers and sisters. There are going to be a lot of people that take that chip. I would say maybe over 90% of the people that's going to take this chip in their wrist or their hand or their forehead. But let's say, for instance, some people start to wake up and they start to figure out, wait a minute, something ain't right about this, but I done took the chip already. So what happens to you when you become a renegade and you no longer want to go along with the program, but you done already took the chip? You think they're not going to send something to you? You're going to give them the authority to do those types of things. It ain't just this is for your good, and this is for your social security, and You want this little check, you better. It ain't about them paying you and you being able to go to the store. It's about population control. Right now, if they wanted to kill you, they'd have to send somebody to your house to do that, or hope that you eat some bad food. But now you got this chip in your hand, in your hand or your forehead. What you think that what makes you think? I'll tell you this: when you have to go down to an electric company to pay them to get them to turn your electricity off, they don't have to come to your house anymore to turn it off if you don't pay. They can shut stuff off just by pressing a button in some central office somewhere. You think they won't shut you off some kind of way? You think they won't be able to send sickness or just in your life? There are movies that's got this stuff in it. And we know if you just look at history, movies tend to be prophetic. Somebody somewhere is coming up with those ideas, and they ain't just snatching them out of the air somewhere. And so you think about that. We're walking right into a system. It ain't just about buying and selling. Okay, even it's about controlling the people and telling the people what to do. And not saying that anything is wrong with that in and of itself, but it's wrong when the devil is sitting at the helm, when he's the one sitting at the steering wheel. That's what makes it wrong. And so we have to start thinking beyond buying and selling in this issue. We're talking about having the power, giving a government entity the power to to ruin people's lives, to take life, to do all these different things, and my prayers is that I'm sincerely praying that the church will wake up and see what's going on, and that they will, and just people all over will wake up and see what's going on.
3 minutes.
All right. Well, if you can, again, I hope y'all got something out of this. About this new world order. Just hope your eyes were open. Pastor Bolden, want to give people your website, how they can contact you and listen to some of your sermons.
All right. My website is www.onetruth.tv. That's www, the number one, TRUTH.tv. On there, you'll find our different, other links to our YouTube channel and Twitter and things like that for the ministry. You'll be able to find all of those. You find our email address and phone number, how to contact us. So just www.onetruth.tv, and there you'll see all the information that you need to get in touch with us.
All right, everybody. Once again, I just really hope y'all got something out of this broadcast. So, New World Order. What side you gonna be on? What side you gonna stand on? Just briefly, that reminds me of wrestling. Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan. They came together. They formed the NWO, New World Order. Basically, you either with them or you're against them. That's plain. That's when wrestling was good, y'all. You was either with them or you were against them. So NWO hits, you either with the one world government or you on God's side. Ain't no in between. You got to make a tough decision. Again, thank y'all for tuning in, and till next time, y'all take care.
Just look to Jesus. You look to Jesus. Just look to Jesus now. I know